The shocking story of Hercules starts on January 24th, 2019, when it was reported that in a paddy field in the Jalakathy district of Bangladesh laid a body. The police responded immediately and found a man later identified to be named Sejal laying face down in the dirt with what looked to be a bullet wound near his left eye. This wasn't what piqued investigators' interest though. The strangest part of the scene was the note tied around his neck. The note read, "I am Sejal. I am a rapist. This is my punishment." It was signed Hercules. You see, roughly 2 weeks earlier, a teenage girl had allegedly been attacked and forced into sex by Sejal and his friend Rakib on her way to visit her grandmother. When she told her family of what had happened, her father immediately reported the incident to the local police, and they in turn identified these two suspects. Though, from what I can tell, the state of the judicial system in Bangladesh leaves a lot to be desired, and these two men would end up not being detained by police and free to return to their daily lives. Upon finding Sejal's body, some investigators had the realization that this killing bore striking resemblance to a previous killing that was discovered only a week before finding Sejal. A man named Ripan, who was a key suspect in the rape and murder of an 18-year-old garment factory worker who was found dead in her house only hours after reporting her rape to police, was found dead on January 17th, with a note around his neck matching almost word for word that of Sejal's. This note also being signed Hercules. By now, police had come to the obvious conclusion that these murders were done by the same perpetrator, a vigilante of sorts, picking off some of the region's more unsavory criminals. But these acts wouldn't prove to be the last. Hercules began to be celebrated by locals. Many saw him as a just and appreciated vigilante despite his operation outside of the purview of law and order. A sort of murderous Batman of Bangladesh, picking up the slack that a judicial system too often failed to act on. It's been reported that incidents such as these can often take up to years or longer to be dealt with, and many protests have been held by women's rights groups to bring attention to the widespread crimes of sexual violence being done against the population on a far too often basis, with little to no response coming from authorities. But despite his celebrated role as seen by the community, the National Police Force initiated a nationwide hunt in an effort to track down the vigilante killer, saying that they have begun investigating from the starting point of the first murder, but at this time they remain clueless as to his identity. In the meantime, Hercules would continue his self-appointed justice when a third body, that of Rakib, Sejal's accomplice in the case involving the teenage girl, was discovered on February 1st. He appeared to have serious blunt force trauma to his head as well as multiple bullet wounds, and once again a note was found tied around his neck professing his crimes and warning other would-be offenders. It was signed by the killer's alter ego, Hercules. Though this latest killing wouldn't be the end of the story in the least, the identity of Hercules remains unknown, but there are some clues, and they might not be what you would think at first glance of this case. Family members of two of the murdered men report that they had been picked up by plain-clothed people, possibly police, before they had been found dead. On January 25th, Rakib was picked up by men appearing to be police while drinking tea with his friend. When Rakib never returned in the coming day or so, his mother attempted to file a missing persons case with the local police, but her request was mysteriously refused. Days later, his body was found. His family strongly believe the police are responsible. Likewise, Ripan's wife reported that on January 11th, her husband was picked up from his home in Ashulia by some plain-clothed people who identified themselves as members of the detective branch. 6 days later, he was found dead. Not surprisingly, the police have denied any involvement in the murders. Whoever Hercules really is, he hasn't been caught to this day, and may still be out there dealing his personal form of vigilante justice to the satisfaction of many of the public. Now I know many of you will probably have an opinion on this case, and I would love to hear what you have to say. Let me know what you think about it in the comments, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe as well. Until next time, stay safe out there.